What's up, people? It's Hatman. I've been busy for a few days, so I ain't done any videos. And you also might have noticed that I haven't been doing any Mayweather Pacquiao build-up videos like a lot of the other channels have been. A lot of the other channels have been making Mayweather Pacquiao videos damn near every day. And I could have been doing the same because it would have got me a lot of views. The only reason why I haven't been doing that is because I just don't have the motivation to make many videos about that fight, because as I said previously, this fight don't excite me in the slightest. And when I said that in the previous video, like right around the time the fight was announced, a few people in the comment section said, Hatman, you can't be serious. Are you seriously saying this fight don't excite you? I find that hard to believe. I've got no reason to lie, people. This fight don't excite me in the slightest. Okay, this fight right here, or this rivalry, should I say, this Mayweather-Pacquiao rivalry, I feel has damaged the sport of boxing in so many ways. And it's encouraged so much foolishness from boxing fans. I'll be glad when the fight is over and we can move on, because boxing is bigger than one fight. It's bigger than these two fighters. Neither of them are in their prime, so we're not going to get to see the best of what this fight could have been. 5-6 years ago, yeah, I would have been excited for the fight, but not now. Not after all this drawn out rivalry and all this bullshit between the two camps and between the two sets of supporters. It's just been long, man. And I just want to get this fight over and done with, out of the way. And I hope there's a conclusive winner, so we don't have to have no rematch or no controversy or no nonsense like that. And then boxing hopefully can move on from this. That's what I'm hoping for. Call it wishful thinking, but that's my mindset right now. So I just haven't had any motivation to do many videos about this fight because I'm really not very excited about it. It's just a fight I want to get out of the way. With that being said, I'm going to talk about one thing in this video, which is Floyd Mayweather's recent comments. In an interview, he said he was better than Muhammad Ali. And this has caused a lot of uproar and people getting upset and what have you. I don't know why people are choosing to get upset now, because Floyd Mayweather's been going around calling himself TBE, the best ever, wearing TBE hats and TBE t-shirts for a long time now. So if he calls himself the best ever, that obviously means that he's saying he's better than Ali, better than Ray Robinson, better than Ray Leonard, etc., etc. So this is nothing new. Do I agree that he's TBE? No, I don't agree. And the reason why I don't agree is because I judge the greatness of a fighter on the quality of opposition that they fought. That's the criteria I base it on, mainly, anyway. Or the quality of opposition they beat, should I say. And Floyd Mayweather hasn't beat the same quality opposition that a Ray Leonard has. He hasn't beat the same quality of opposition that Muhammad Ali has. He hasn't beat the same quality of opposition that a Ray Robinson has. So how could you possibly, or by my criteria, you couldn't possibly rate Floyd Mayweather higher than those guys, because they beat better opponents than he did. Like Muhammad Ali being the main point of contention. Muhammad Ali beat Sonny Liston when Liston was a dominant champion in the division, the undisputed, effectively, champion at the time. He was feared by everyone. He was walking through everyone. People didn't want to fight this guy. Muhammad Ali came along and beat him convincingly. Later on in his career, he fought George Foreman, who, he was even more frightening than Sonny Liston was. This is a guy who was in his prime. This is a guy who was walking through everyone. This is a guy who walked through a Hall of Famer in Joe Frazier. Muhammad Ali beat Foreman and beat him convincingly. Now, who on Floyd Mayweather's resume was a dominant, feared champion who had been walking through everybody, not going the distance, walking through them, and had walked through a Hall of Famer in his prime? And George Foreman weren't just a big puncher. He weren't just a regular big puncher like a Marcus McDonough or Canelo Alvarez. George Foreman is one of the top 5 hardest punching world champions of all time in pretty much everyone's book. This guy didn't have just regular big punching power. This guy had all-time great punching power. Okay, it's not like Marcus McDonald or Canelo or Miguel Cotto. You know, Floyd ain't come up against anything like that. A guy who just walked through people, walked through Hall of Famers in a couple rounds. Floyd ain't fought no one like that. So you're not going to tell me that one of Floyd's opponents was just as fearsome a puncher pound for pound as George Foreman was, because that's just straight bullshit. All right? Who on Floyd Mayweather's resume has he fought that was anything like that? Nobody. Rhetorical question, because there is nobody that even comes close to what a George Foreman represented in Muhammad Ali's career. Floyd ain't fought no one on that level. Okay? And you look at, for example, Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard fought Tommy Hearns, who's a Hall of Famer. He fought him in his prime. He fought Marvin Hagler, who's a Hall of Famer, undisputed middleweight champion, one of the greatest middleweight champions of all time. He fought Roberto Duran, arguably the greatest lightweight of all time. Okay, this guy, you know, Ray Leonard particularly, he was fighting people that are light years ahead and above anyone that Floyd Mayweather's fought. Floyd Mayweather's fought some decent fighters. You know, Canelo Alvarez, decent fighter. But he's definitely no Tommy Hearns, right? He fought Marquez, very good fighter. Maybe a Hall of Famer, but he's no Roberto Duran. You understand what I'm saying? And obviously he was naturally a lot bigger and stronger than Marquez. He had physical advantages. He came into the fight. He was supposed to be a catchweight, but Mayweather came in, well over the limit. So when you break Mayweather's resume down and you compare the opponents he's beat to the opponents that a lot of the other greats have beat, there's no comparison. Floyd hasn't beat the quality of opposition that a lot of the other greats have beaten. It's a fact. And some Floyd fans will say, well, okay, Floyd hasn't beat the same quality of opposition as a Sugar Ray Leonard has beat, for example, or even Roy Jones Jr., because Roy Jones Jr. did beat Bernard Hopkins and he did beat James Toney. But let's just stick with Sugar Ray Leonard. They'll say, yeah, he hasn't faced the quality of opposition that Sugar Ray Leonard did, but that's not Floyd's fault, because he wasn't around in an era where they had fighters of that quality available for him to fight. Well, the next best thing you can do, if you don't have that type of quality opposition, the next best thing you can do is take on all comers. That's the next best thing you can do. And Floyd hasn't done that. He hasn't been a guy that's willing to take on all comers. You know, Sugar Ray Robinson was doing that. Even to a large degree, certainly now anyway, for the most part, even Vladimir Klitschko, a guy who I've been very, very critical of throughout his career in terms of the opponents that he picks, he's taken on all comers far more so than Floyd Mayweather is. You know, that's the next best thing. If you're not in a great era, take on all comers. You can say what you like about Mike Tyson, and I've been very, very critical of his resume too. But Mike Tyson took on all comers when he was heavyweight champion. He fought everyone. You know, there are so many guys who Floyd didn't fight, and you can come up with any excuse in the world why he didn't fight them. The fact is, he didn't. He let certain things get in the way, and he made it so that certain fights didn't happen, and they were very viable fights at the time. You know, that is what it is. And also on top of that, people talk about Floyd has won these belts in different weight divisions and all this kind of stuff. Winning belts nowadays is not what it was when Sugar Ray Robinson was world champion. Because back then there was only one champion per division. So when you were a multi-weight world champion, it actually meant something. To just pick up a belt in a division, how is that as impressive today as being the champion in several divisions in years gone by? You know, even when you had guys like Ray Leonard fighting Marvin Hagler, there was multiple belts at the time, but Marvin Hagler had all the belts. You get what I'm saying? So there's a very, very big difference between something like what Floyd did and something like what Ray Leonard did or Ray Robinson in terms of actually fighting the champion. You know, when you look at Floyd at 140, for example. He fought Arturo Gatti. He didn't fight Costa Tszyu. You understand what I'm saying? So what did his belt at 140 really mean? He didn't fight the best guy in that division. He just picked up a belt. So really and truly against the weakest champion. So really and truly that belt, that championship that he won at 140 was meaningless. In the grand scheme of things, historically speaking, it was meaningless. He didn't fight the best in the division. So what the hell did that belt mean? You get what I'm telling you? And you could go on and give other examples of where Floyd's been like that. When he moved up to 147, Margarito was the man at 147. He didn't fight Margarito. He fought Boldemir. He fought Judah. He didn't fight Margarito. Now, whether you think he would have beat Margarito or not, it's irrelevant. The fact is, he wasn't taking on the best quality opponents that he could have taken on for whatever reason, and when I'm judging a fighter's greatness, I have to look at things like that. I have to say, okay, if he ain't around in a great era, then he has to take on the best opposition he has available to him in his era, which Floyd didn't always do. Again, I'm not just totally bashing on Floyd. He has fought some good fighters, but, this guy hasn't taken on all comers, not even close. So there are going to be some people who won't accept it because denial is not just a river in Egypt. It's also a state of mind. And there's a lot of Floyd Mayweather fans in denial. And it's not really just Floyd fans, It's like, it's this sick culture of celebrity worship, which is so prevalent in modern day society. These Mayweather fans who will tell you that Floyd is the greatest ever and try and argue that he has beat better opposition than, whoever else. These are, these guys are no different really than Justin Bieber fans. And ironically, Justin Bieber is one of Floyd Mayweather's good friends, it seems. They're no different than these little screaming teenage girls who are Bieber fans who literally think that Justin Bieber can walk on water. They're no different, man. They're the same. They're just as irrational, just as fanatical. And if you try to talk to one of these little girls who like Justin Bieber and tell them Justin Bieber's not really a great singer, they're going to probably try and attack you or something, you understand, and get very upset. Because to them, in their indoctrinated and fanatical mind, Justin Bieber's the greatest thing since sliced bread, So that's the same mentality with a lot of these Floyd fanatics, man. They just think it don't matter what logic you try and bring to them. They're still not going to see it because they don't want to see it, because they're caught up, they're wrapped up in this celebrity worship and thinking Floyd's a great guy and he can do no wrong. And whatever he does is the right thing because Floyd's doing it. Floyd could end up being a pedophile and be caught on camera being a pedophile. And a lot of these fans, a lot of these fanatical Floyd fans would defend him one way or another. Either they'd say it was some elaborate CGI shit to frame him on camera, or they would say that even though he's a pedophile, he should be forgiven. They say some crazy shit, I'm telling you, because these people are seriously fucked up, these celebrity worshippers, man. This is how they think. So it is what it is. So, Floyd saying he's better than Ali and better than everyone and TBE, it's nothing new. No one should be shocked. That's who Floyd is. That's his personality. I guess the moral of the story is try not to get drawn into long debates with these fanatics. There's going to be a few of them in the comment section below. Try not to get drawn into debates with them because they're not in their right mind. And you can't win a debate with someone who is not rational, You can only win a debate if the person's rational. If you've got two rational people, someone can win that debate. But if you got a rational person and the other person's irrational, you can't win. So, it is what it is. Drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about this whole thing. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.